Hey, what's going on YouTube? Lionel here again. As I promised in my last video that I would do a few reviews, and I have a little bit of time now that basketball and football is over for a little while for my boys. So, with that said, there's a couple of fragrances I would like to review. I'll do this video and then I'll do one more, I believe. This one is going to come from the house of Kerosene. As many of you know, Kerosene was once a YouTube reviewer who sort of was a self-taught perfumer who created a very, I would say, recognized and celebrated fragrance house known as Kerosene. John Pegg is his name. So I really appreciate his work, and it's really an inspiration for a lot of us that, to go for your passion. He has a very artistic eye, some of the most beautiful bottles that you can find. I mean, I liked the longer bottles, but the short, fat bottles are also just as attractive. So I think Kerosene does a good job from a presentation perspective. I wish I would have grabbed some of the old bottles, but I'm sure you've seen them. I have not got my hands on a newer bottle, but that may just be a matter of time as I'm going to review his latest release called Unforsaken. Here's the sample. There's a sample of Unforsaken. So I've been wearing this since Kerosene sent this. I don't know, maybe a month ago now. I don't know. So he just sent me that in the note and said, "Are you still into fragrances?" And yes, I am still into fragrances. If you watch this, John, but I just had not had the time to really sit down, nor the passion to really sit down and review anything. But with that said, I've got a new fire that's sort of kindled, and I want to review this one. So let's get right into the notes. So the notes are tangerine. The notes are tangerine, clementine, yuzu. You have orange blossom. You have jasmine, ginger, tonka, benzoin, vanilla, musk, and coconut. Sort of the way the Fragrantica base going is you have sort of those citruses up top. You have the the ginger, tonka, some of those more supporting heavier notes, mid bass notes in the middle, and then coconut is listed last. Now that doesn't mean much because I'll just be honest with you and tell you at the very opening of this fragrance. So at the very opening of this fragrance, what you have is an Atelier Aqua de Parma type of citrus up top. Very, very juicy. I mean, if you've ever smelled orange sanguine, if you've ever smelled, there's a citrus by Aqua de Parma, but it's that very natural, almost drinkable. So this has a very, very, it's very close to being gourmandish. Just from the very open, from the onset, you're going to get a gourmand type of quality, and rightfully so with sort of Kerosene's themes and a lot of his fragrances. So it's almost a drinkable, like a rich, fresh out of the tree, squeezed tangerine, orange blossom, clementine type of note. Within 5 minutes, the coconut comes in quick for me. So I don't know about others' reviews. I don't know if there's, I think Moody Boo did a review, and I'll go back and watch hers. But I wanted to do that independent of her. So what I have up front is a very drinkable citrus, tangerine, clementine, orange blossom, sort of that with a slight floral with the orange blossom. But it's very, very drinkable. So again, 5 minutes into the fragrance, you're going to get a 5-10 minutes into the fragrance, you're going to get this coconut, and it turns sort of milky and creamy, and just sort of highlights and sort of takes the fragrance from a sort of drinkable orange to a creamy, sort of a creamsicle type of orange. Again, not creamsicle, but sort of the stuff you get at if you've ever been to one of those weddings where they have the orange drink and it's kind of fuzzy up top, that creamy stuff, whatever that is. It sort of reminds me of that. So what it really does is a fragrance that it puts me in mind is it's um, sweet redemption without the benzoin, without the incense, or with the benzoin, but without the incense, without the balmy quality to it, right? Um, so you sort of have this very natural orange clementine, and then coupled with this coconut note that gives us this creamy, milky sort of vibe. And as that starts to transition down into the heart, the vanilla really kicks in. So then this is where this fragrance actually gets a bit sweeter in the base and in the heart of this thing. So as it starts to transition to the dry down, you're really going to get a sweet, gourmandish, oranges type of fragrance, and that's when it really starts to remind me of Sweet Redemption. Now, with that said, I think because of the naturalness of the open and the way the tangerine and the orange blossom all blend, I think this might be a bit more wearable than sweet. So if people found Sweet Redemption just a little too much, I think Kerosene's fragrance is a healthy balance of sort of an Atelier and Sweet Redemption. So it's like those two have a child, and the offspring is Unforsaken. Now, as it goes for projection longevity, now for the first 40 minutes, now again, I only have a dab, so I really can't speak to I can't really speak to how it would project if I was to spray this, from an atomizer. But on my skin, when as I dabbed it on, the first hour or so is pretty bright. I mean, pretty bright for, dabbing a couple of fingers on there. So I would assume it's going to project very, very nice for the first few hours. The longevity is superb. I've worn this quite a few times, and if I smell my hand, I can smell it hours later. So again, I'm coming from a dab, so it's very hard for me to give you a a true sense of how it's going to perform on your skin. But I think it would be, again, somewhere between Sweet Redemption, which is an all-day fragrance, and an Atelier fragrance for me. Um, Overall, I'm going to give this fragrance really high marks. Again, I am not biased. I think one of the things I wanted to start doing was kind of be a little tougher on fragrances, and it's very hard for me to be tough on Unforsaken. I think it is very, very well made. I think it smells unbelievable. I think it's going to be beautiful for a spring summer fragrance. I mean, I would imagine this could be a perfect wedding scent for a young lady. I think this would be a perfect fun date scent in the summer for a guy. I think it's perfectly unisex. I think the orange blossom and some of the sweetness could lean a little bit femme, to be honest. But I'm never afraid of wearing our own feminine fragrances. So at least feminine marketed fragrances. So I'm never afraid to wear those. But if Sweet Redemption is too much and Atelier sort of leaves you wanting, I think Unforsaken would probably be a perfect middle ground. I think he'll do very, very well with this fragrance. I think you would be highly impressed with just the quality of the ingredients in this fragrance. So I'll give a big nod to this one. As it relates to a rating scale, again, it's hard for me without an atomizer. Smell, I'll give it a 5, and I'm being honest here. It is one of the best citruses I've smelled. So I'm going to give it a 5 in smell. I'm going to give it a maybe 3.5 as it relates to overall projection and performance. And again, I don't really know, but just based off what I'm experiencing on my skin, I'm going to give it about a 3.5. For a guy, I'm going to tell you, if it was a scale, if there was a line like this, I'm going to lean a little bit, and this was femme, I'm going to lean a little bit towards this way on the femme scale. So I would say it's probably 60% more femme than it is masculine. So I'll just be honest there. And finally, I'll say that I think it'll be very, very versatile. Again, I don't know if a guy would want to wear this to work. I think it's more of a playful scent from that perspective, but I think for a female, it could be a wonderful signature fragrance that would get her noticed wherever she goes. I think a guy would turn heads, and people would find it appealing and delicious smelling, so to say. But I think just from a day-to-day citrus fragrance, I don't know if most guys would really want to wear this on a daily basis. and I could be wrong. I would personally, but again, I'm a little bit different. So I'm just going with the broader, uh, um, the broader male category, so to say. So anyway, I appreciate you offering me to smell this kerosene if you ever watch these videos. And I'll tell everybody else out there, try to get a sample. I may consider splitting this one for the summer. So, watch my page for that. So anyway, that is Kerosene's Unforsaken, released in 2015. Beautiful citrus, orange blossom, tonka, vanilla, coconut fragrance. God bless, and I will see you shortly.